Everyone, welcome to the Online Prosperity Show. I'm the next guest, Leanne Shelton. I'm a copywriter, a marketer turned AI coach, global AI coach, and author of AI Human Fusion. Been a journey, and stay tuned for this episode where you'll hear all about it and ask yourself whether you're using AI effectively as a human or are you getting it to replace you? Dum, dum, dum.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to yet another exciting episode of the Online Prosperity Show, the number one place to get exclusive behind the scenes insights into how change makers are solving big problems in business, life, and growth. I'm your host, Prosper Taruvinga. And if you've ever felt maybe stuck by complexity, overwhelmed by new tech, AI, or just unsure where you're going or what you're doing, this is the right episode for you. I'm really excited to bring in my guest, Leanne. Now, Leanne, how are you doing today?
Yeah, good. Thanks, Prosper. How are you?
I'm super excited, and I'm especially for what we're about to talk about. You know, when people talk about AI, they always think the robotic, the M.E.D.I.A and the whole, we don't understand where this is heading and things of that nature, but you're putting the human into AI, and I can't wait to jump into that. And for those that are meeting Leanne for the very first time, she's the CEO of HumanEdge AI Training. She's also a global AI coach, keynote speaker, and the author of AI Human Fusion. Now, Leanne is one of those rare people who actually leapt from being a non-techie copywriter into leading the human first AI revolution. So you might be thinking to yourself, oh, I don't know how to actually prompt this GPT. Well, Leanne also started from not knowing, but now she's been featured in the Australian ABC News, Money Magazine, and now on the Online Prosperity Show. So we're in for a fun and deeply practical conversation. Now, Leanne, the last time we had a chat was ages ago. Tell me a little bit about, the journey so far and what prompted the pivot.
Yeah, so back when we chatted, Prosper, I was a copywriter at a thriving copywriting agency or copywriting and content marketing. And if it was still going strong, I'd be 11 years old now, but it's kind of taken a sidestep. Because, early 2023, I saw the writing on the wall a little bit because ChatGPT had just come out a few months earlier. My conversions were dropping and my, monthly retainers had also dropped. And I thought, oh no, people starting to say to me, oh, don't worry, I'll just use ChatGPT, which was this free, shiny tool that had crash landed in the content space. And look, my initial reaction was to freak out because I just invested in a whole new website and I had all these goals for, where I was going to take my business. But I'm like, look, AI is not going to go anywhere. So I could just sit here and panic and freak out or go find a full-time job that I'm not satisfied in, or I could look for the opportunities. And I chose the latter. And what I thought through some conversations with other people, I'm like, well, hang on. My background is writing. Like I've been a writer since I was a kid. And, I've been in marketing for a good 8 years or so. Surely there's some opportunity here because ChatGPT is all about words, like in terms of prompt engineering. And then it spits out words. And I thought, I know words. Where can I fit into this space? And I initially just thought, maybe I, can't beat them, join them. I'll teach people how to create quality content with AI because they're going to do it anyway. Don't fight it. And so I put on a webinar and I gave myself a whole month to learn as much as I could about ChatGPT and prompt engineering. And the webinar was how to use ChatGPT and still sound human. And I had 150 people sign up for it, 70 tune in live, and then within a few weeks I was in the Australian and I was invited to speak at networking groups and at conferences, and I thought, okay, I'm onto something here. People want to know how to stop this robotic, lifeless content from sounding more human and actually giving them quality output to fulfill all those promises of productivity and efficiency that AI gives. And that's how I started. I just thought, well, I know marketing, I know copywriting, I know what good quality content looks like. Too many people, like all these, some coaches, were jumping on the bandwagon of AI. Oh, here's 1,000 prompts at $57. And I bought one of those and it's fine. Okay, here's a prompt. But there was no one telling you what to do with the output. No one telling you how to customize it or add context so that it was actually relevant to you. And that's what I started doing. And that's how I spent most of 2023, just teaching people how to customize their tool, which I'm still teaching now, by the way. People still don't know that can happen. No, that's even a thing. Training the tool, because this is the first time that non-techie people have access to a software that we can customize and make our own. We are so used to, like, we don't know coding, so used to just grabbing a piece of software and using it, or just, using it like Google, just give me stuff, that we're not used to going, okay, how do we make this tool actually become my assistant and an extension of my human experience expertise? And so I started training on that, and I'm still training on that. But then somewhere along the way in 2024, I realized there was a much bigger thing at play here. And there was still this fear mongering about being replaced by AI and people freaking out about that. There was all this hype from my AI enthusiasts overseas about AI first. Like, oh, you want an AI first business and put AI in every system and process and automate everything. And I was like, ugh, I don't like the sound of that, especially when all these humans are worrying about the future. And I started then, pushing the human first approach. What if we put the humans first and we look at how the humans can fit in and the tools support the humans? And just that flip of thinking, that then led to my book, AI Human Fusion, because I also wanted to write about something that wouldn't be out of date really quickly. And in the AI space, things were moving so quick. And I thought, this is what I need to do. This is a conceptual book that will be relevant for many, many years to come, because it's all about the mindset with AI, like not getting lazy, not being over-reliant, actually looking at security, actually looking at legalities, looking at how your team's impacted, looking how to train it, looking how to create a future-ready team work culture. And yeah, my books had really, really great feedback from everyone who's read it. It's non-techie, conversational, and it's, it basically you hear my voice. I've got my personality, and it's very easy to read. And it just makes it approachable, like this whole AI thing that's otherwise it's hype and overwhelm for so many. So my goal is to really push the hype, bring the humans to the forefront, and let us all calm the farm and realize this is where AI should sit, this is where it shouldn't, this is where humans should take over, and everything like that. So that's kind of a long-winded way to say, it's really evolved. And now, towards the end of 2025, I'm a sort out keynote speaker. I'm doing team training in bigger organizations now, getting all the teams on the same page, because everyone's just all over the place still. There's still managers and leaders going, here, just go be productive, go use AI without any clear direction. And it needs to be just like WHS. It needs to be something that's embedded in day-to-day life and not just this thing you just use willy-nilly and not think about properly. But that's where I've come from. I'm absolutely loving it now. I do a little bit of copywriting on the side, but mostly my own stuff. But this has become my real passion, just because I feel like I'm on this mission to help humans and humanity survive and thrive through AI and not just become these blobs that can't think for ourselves.
Oh, it's a good thing we've got people like you that think, in that sort of way. And thank you so much for obviously opening us up with all of that. Now, you did mention as a kid, you were into writing. What sort of writing were you doing? Was it like class reports, or were you just writing the names of all of those that were making noise in the class?
I love doing short stories, and I started around year 3, I think it was, maybe it was year 4. I think it was a gift I got from the Kris Kringle thing at the end of year 3, and that kind of, I thought it was a nice little notebook rather than being another journal, because I had so many of those. Let's write short stories. And yeah, so I wrote short stories. I don't think I could actually write a fiction book though. This is too much involved with character development and plot lines. And I much prefer write nonfiction, which I have with obviously AI Human Fusion. But then I did write a children's book as well earlier this year that my dad illustrated because he's a retired art teacher, visual arts teacher. So having said that, I can do short stories again. I think that's fine. And it's called Shopping for a New Mummy, about a little girl has a little tantrum and that's it, mummy. I've had enough of this. I'm going to the mummy shop to buy a new one. And then she has paraded in front of her between A to Z, acrobat through the zookeeper of mums to choose from. And spoiler alert, she chooses her own mum in the end. It's like a grass is always greener type thing. But yeah, so I've done that as well earlier this year. I think my dad's keen to do another collaboration. But yes, I think it's that writing in me, like it's always been part of my identity. And I guess, look, that's been a little bit of a crisis because when the AI stuff came up, I'm like, but writing's always been my thing. And if I suddenly can't be paid for that, what else? Like I finally found my dream, like business or dream job. What else is there for me? And now I've just found this new thing. I'm like, well, I can still write, but with AI and the strategic thinking that I put into it, and it's because people worry about that creative and critical thinking being lost because of AI. But I have so much fun and strategizing with it because I know what content looks like I said, and I've got ideas and I can work with the tool. And so I'm still writing just in a different way, but I do challenge myself to sometimes write without AI to prove I still can. So, and the book was 95% human written before you asked that too. So that was myself and 37 human contributors. I wanted to keep it human. There were occasional AI generated responses that came back to interview questions. And I'm like, I can tell you used AI and just rejected it. But yeah, so I'm still a writer and I've had to hold on to that. It's just going to evolve a little bit now with AI.
Absolutely. And thank you so much for, sharing that little bit of your past, because then it really forms, the person that you've become. So while other kids were probably, soccer, in the sporting arena or basketball kids, so you were just doing writing. And obviously from what I'm gathering, dad was always supporting your your skill and your passion there, right?
Yeah. I mean, my family always told me, yeah, you're a good writer. I had like Sunday school teacher tell me how amazing I was when I wrote like scripts for the Sunday school plays, and it always came naturally to me. It was just a skill that just is natural. And my dad being an art teacher, I was dragged to a lot of art galleries growing up, and which makes you think outside the box because there's some like paint strokes, brush strokes on a canvas, and we're meant to analyze what that means. And I think that has helped with my outside the box thinking with AI, to be honest, because so many people are just taking it for what it is. And I'm like going, hang on. And I'm questioning it. I think it has kind of helped that upbringing, that critical thinking. And I have heard this as well, by the way, that if you're unsure or you're unsure if your kids, your grandkids, what they should study at university, they should study art and philosophy or things that get them thinking, because then they'll be more likely to embrace AI from a critical thinking point of view. But I think that really did help me. And I think what also helped me was about a year ago, I cut off Facebook and Instagram from my phone. Never gone to TikTok. I only have LinkedIn on there, which at a certain point you get bored. And so I cleared the mental clutter of that mindless scrolling that you can get sucked into. And I think that's also helped me this past year just see things like the forest for the trees, I guess, with the whole AI thing. You can very easily go, oh, doom and gloom, and I don't watch the news either. People say to me, hey, hear about this? Like, no, tell me. I hear through people, through conversation, anything I really need to know. I disregard some things. I course on LinkedIn, come across articles relevant to AI to keep me, up to date with things. But I think that's really important with the AI thing, that there's so many updates, there's so many new tools. And I do talk about this, like, don't keep jumping onto the next tool that gets announced, or don't go play around with a new update, because the ironic thing is AI is meant to be like saving us time and making us more productive and effective. And if you're just playing around with this stuff, you're wasting time.
Well,
and that's it's so ironic. And I know so many AI enthusiasts who and that's kind of that imposter syndrome, because other AI enthusiasts or trainers were constantly teaching people about new tools, new updates, and that's all I saw. And I'm like, that overwhelms me in my neurodiverse brain. I don't want to be doing that. And my audience don't want to be listening to that. Like, they're already overwhelmed. Why do I want to feed to that noise? And so occasionally I did feel like, I feel like I'm behind. I should be on top of these things. But I thought, if I just stay, my niche is about human first approach to AI. I don't need to be on top of every single update. I can hear things like, oh, mass sackings just happened and all these people lost their jobs, but then they realize they made a mistake and hide them back. That speaks to my point. Or, hey, there's just been a governor overseas who's it's now an AI. Like, what are we doing? Why are we replacing human roles with AI? Like, this is the stuff that I want to stand for and talk to people about, not the constant updates. Or I don't specialize in any particular AI tools either, like generative AI. I love my ChatGPT. It knows me really well after, almost 3 years of training. So I stick with that. Fathom is great for meetings. Occasionally use a couple others, but that's honestly it, because I don't want to get overwhelmed and clogged up with experimenting with tools that maybe, created by bored teenagers in their room at 2 a.m. Like, it's just all, you can just get caught up in this wave. And that's what I'm really hoping to do with the book and everything I do. Like, just get people to stop, reflect, reset. How should I use AI right now? When do I reject it? What message are we putting out there for our kids? All that stuff.
You know what I like about that? Because so many people get caught up in what's the latest, how do I integrate it with what I'm already doing? And I've always asked people, right now, if you go outside in your driveway, the car that you're driving, is it the latest of the range that you're driving today? Or the phone that you actually have, is it the latest of the range that is possibly available today? The laptop that you have, is it the latest of the range that you're using? Half of the time, I think I've had this laptop for about 8 or so years, and I haven't really changed it because we're not really using, constantly changing like that. But I'm surprised why people want to jump onto the next while they're not doing the same with half of the things that they have as well. So I think it's just when something is new, that just what happens, Leanne. Now, you've taken us from the time where, you were the kid that was obviously like enjoyed writing and stuff like that. Career days, did you just jump into copywriting and marketing, or did you do anything else in between, that sort of formed part of your journey?
Yeah, it's been a really cool evolution in my career, actually. And it's one that I tell people, because I know a lot of young people these days think they have to just jump into their dream career straight away. So I studied a Bachelor of Creative Arts and major in creative writing because I was a writer. And actually the information session at the open day for media in writing was the same time as creative writing. And I just go, oh, well, I did really well in 4-year English. I'll do the creative writing, even though I wasn't thinking more long term. But picked up some media subjects and it was fine. But I was determined to be a journalist, because really, apart from journalist and author, what other writing jobs are there? And I did work experience at multiple places. I was so keen to get in, loved it. But there was this element of write an article, rinse and repeat, go write another article. And I'm like, oh, okay, not sure if that is for me. We'll see what evolves. And my very first job out of uni was actually a telesales job for, it was called True Local, an online business directory, which I think still exists. I don't know. But yeah, and look, I hated making cold calls. It was the worst, but amazing skill set learned from being on the phone when so many people these days hate the phone. And I could speak to, and being a business directory, I spoke to plumbers, to lawyers, and was able to then speak to anyone, regardless of their background. I just kind of molded myself based on who I was speaking to. And look, after a while, I think maybe 9 months or so, I got into more of a account management role. So more about existing clients, which I loved much better because it's more of a problem solving, helping the humans. And so I really, I thrived in that, but ultimately I didn't want to be in sales. Like I want to be in writing. And then this internal role came up. It was like an internal communications. It really was a nothing role. They hadn't properly fleshed it out. Honestly, it was more of like a support role to sales, like creating sales materials, like written materials, a staff newsletter, helping with some sales incentive events like one to Luna Park and some fun games like pie throwing at the sales manager and stuff. And I love that. I love the creativity of it. So that kind of gave me a hint of what else was out there. Was made redundant. And even though I'd applied for an internal PR role and I just studied PR, they're like, no, we want someone experienced rather than someone who's been at the company for 3 years. So I moved on then to a not-for-profit, which was a disability organisation, Achieve Australia. I loved it, working with adults with intellectual disability, and that was in the marketing team. And that's where I started getting a taste of marketing. I did marketing communications. I helped with event planning. I helped with some PR stuff. There was a great mix of stuff. And I'm like, yes, marketing communications, that's my role. That's the type of thing I want to do. And then that ended because I had an opportunity to step up, and then when my manager left, and then stepped down again when I got a new manager, and I didn't like going backwards. So I then moved on to Macquarie University, where I worked in a marketing team and got to really fully own marketing and learn about marketing campaigns, worked for all the different areas on the campus, from sport to the food to wherever. And that's where I really just, my passion projects were like becoming the editor of the sport magazine. And I finally got to be a journalist, and ultimately that was my last full-time role before my business, because I had my daughter and I was working part-time hours, but it felt like full-time work crammed into those part-time hours. And I'm like, look, after 9 months or whatever it was, I'm like, no, I think it was 6 months actually. I think I need to go out on my own so I have flexibility around my family. And I did find a contract that was 3 days a week. Marketing, comms, copywriting was basically what my business was about. And my business, by the way, was just meant to be about newsletters, because that's what I was doing on maternity leave, doing newsletters with sport clubs. And I'm like, oh, maybe that's something. Turns out businesses don't want that. They want a website copy and articles. I'm like, oh, I can do that. Cool. And that's where Right Time Marketing began. And it's September 2024. And it was my dream job. I mean, I had to learn about having a business, but I just feel like I was always meant to be a business owner, because all these things just came together. I was ambitious. I tried things. I just, I had some fails, but I had a lot of wins. And I hit my stride. I had subcontractors. We were making, 6 figures. And that's then, when I started to decline with AI. And I'm like, okay, now it's coming to its end. I'd already been in it for a while, had run workshops and things too. But so my journey, I think every role I had has all helped. So I was able to convert on the phone my business a lot easier because I had the telesales. I'd worked at not-for-profit. I'd worked for a uni. I'd worked with students and working with intellectual disability adults as well, about the empowering language and, think about neurodiversity and all this kind of stuff too. And all these things, I picked up all these skills along the way, which has just then helped me with how I think about my business now with AI and thinking about the people, because all these roles always had to think about the people, what their needs were. And I've never studied psychology, but maybe I will one day. I've always just loved thinking about how people think and trying to empower people to be their best selves. And that's just in my personal and business life. And I thought, all right, with AI, I want people to feel empowered and actually help themselves, not shoot themselves in the foot by using AI out of laziness. And that is what I'm seeing. And that's what I'm trying to stop people from doing. Going, okay, no, you're over relying on it now. Where do you see yourself in 5 years? Do you see yourself not being able to make a decision at all or any kind of brainstorming? No, then stop now before it becomes this habit. And so it's been a really fun journey. And I feel like I'm where I was meant to be.
Absolutely. And you know what I like about that? I mean, obviously, you talked about the phones, because when you're speaking to someone on the phone, you literally have to convince them, first of all, to hear you out, hear what you've got to say, and then follow through with whatever it is that you're talking about. So that's a lot of speaking and communication and thinking on your feet that needs to happen when that is actually happening. And couple that with being able to write, because if you're writing to someone who's not in front of you, and you're meant to convince them to go on ahead and do whatever it is that you're going to be doing. So that's like a powerful package that you had there, plus the cross section of the market that you had to deal with. If you're speaking to plumbers or roofers who are on top of a roof and things like that, and then going on to the charity work that you're doing, so it's like different people, and you really getting your message across, which really empowers you to be the one person who's now leading the human side of artificial intelligence. But when AI started coming in, you did say your business was in decline and things like that. Didn't that sort of scare you at all, that, oh, this is now not looking good? I mean, all these other times you were able to sort of pivot, do certain things because, maybe a position opened and then it sort of worked out like this. But this was like goods train just plowing through.
Yeah. I mean, I can say, look, COVID, as bad as it was, it did teach us that nothing is safe and comfortable. And because I'd planned with the local council to run like all these series of workshops and things that year. I think it was 21. And they said, okay, obviously with lockdowns, we have to turn it all online. I'm like, well, I've used Zoom for meetings occasionally, but surely I can just combine my Canva slides and Zoom and throw together an online course. Yeah, no worries. And I did. And it worked out really well. And all these people, like I was paid, but they came for free. And like 100 people came to this digital marketing course online. And so I kind of got used to thinking a little bit outside the box and just seeing what happens and kind of taking those gambles and see where they go. And no, I 100% freaked out initially. Like for me in the copywriting world, things just shut down basically November till like April. And a lot of the time, maybe March if you're lucky. And this year, 2023, it was April. And I'm like, no more work's coming in. And all the inquiries are just fizzling out because they just say, oh, that's $500 to do a media release. Don't worry, I'll do it for free with ChatGPT. But I was like, but you don't know what you're doing. But they thought, no, I've got this all-knowing power under my fingertips, so I can do anything. And that's why I'm like, okay. I talked to a few people. I talked to my friend who's a business advisor. I decided to put on that webinar after being at a full day get it done session with a networking group I was with, and people were talking about AI and how someone hadn't touched it because I was scared. Another person had played with it, but it was crap. And I asked the room, I said, well, would you be interested in something about how to use AI and create great content from it, from a copywriter, like not an IT person, not someone who's going to speak, techie jargon at you, someone who's going to be animated and make it fun and approachable, and with my experience. And everyone's like, yeah, I'd totally like tune into that. And just hearing everyone's aha moments, or, oh, wow, like you can do that. I never thought of it that way. And wins, like, I've just done this and oh my gosh, it's given me this and it's so much better than anything I've ever done. It's just so fulfilling, rewarding. And I actually find that more rewarding than writing a whole bunch of website copy, because I quite often put all my heart and soul into it, send it off into this abyss, and then either get good work, already put it on a website, or hear a whole bunch of errors, which I would take personally. And you're like, oh my gosh. But the ironic thing with that, tying in what I do now with the copywriting, is the brand voice element. And it's so funny because as a copywriter, one of the core things you're briefed on is the brand voice, like making the writing you write for them, because you're ghostwriting, it has to sound like them as an individual, they're a micro business owner, or as the brand. And I literally had people walk away going, oh, I just can't see how you could turn my thoughts in, like you couldn't possibly write my thoughts the way I would write them. And it's so funny because then the same people, fast forward, the AI, totally fine. Just use AI and have it not sound like them because of the ease of use and the time and everything. And I'm like, you've just forgotten about the value of sounding like you, and people want to connect with you, and there's this whole disconnect if you put out this robotic lifeless content, which everyone's developing a sixth, seventh sense, whatever. Like we can tell when you use AI poorly, you're damaging your own brand. What are you doing? And that's something that I do remind people of. Like, remember, it needs to sound like you to actually get any kind of quality like output, quality results. And I have seen some people who are at high positions who are using AI for their thought leadership articles and things. And I'm like, I can tell you've used AI. You may have thought that you've trained it well. This still sounds generic and lifeless and soulless. There's no depth to it. I can just tell why you're doing it. Like, I just lose this trust in the brand when I see it happen. And so that's, people to just just make sure you don't fall into this trap of, I'm being productive, how much time I'm saving, how good is this for me, and forgetting about the people on the other side. And that's also what I talk about in the human first thing. Like, just think about the humans who are receiving it, whether they're in your team and getting your dodgy AI generated briefs, or it's your customers getting your dodgy robotic lifeless content. We need to be respectful of the people who are reading it, because if you don't put the effort into writing it, why should they put the effort into reading it? And that's a really important message you want to get across.
Absolutely. Now let's talk about what it is that you're doing now, and how you're doing it, because you call your approach human first AI. And first of all, what does that actually mean? Does that mean people just write out and then ask ChatGPT if what they've written is correct, or how does that sort of work in real terms?
Yeah, so it's a couple of things. So first of all, it's not having AI to replace you. It's about AI amplifying your human experience and expertise. And this is where I'm seeing that people are just replacing themselves, replacing their thinking, going, oh, give me the answer to this. Like, yeah, using the message bar the same way as Google. What's the answer to this? Write me this, do that for me. And without a second thought, just to get a job done, right? Done is better than none, and I'm like, okay, but how is that serving you in the long run? How is that serving your brain? Is it all that stuff is just patterns from pre-existing content? There's no original thought there. That's not you. Why are you doing that? Just because you can doesn't mean you should. And so what I teach is, all right, like I personally, when I use ChatGPT, it never uses what's pre-trained with. I give it my workshops, my articles, like past articles. I give it my keynote scripts. I give it my manuscript, certain chapters, and then I give it clear direction. Because me as a human, I know what I want it to do for me. You've got to think about that. Think about how you want to serve you. And a like treat like a servant. It is kind of a servant, but be nice to it too. But how can it actually serve you? So I give it my content, then say, can you now create an outline? And then I review it, I assess it. So my human brain, my human critical thinking is working at all times, going, okay, I like that, don't like that, bit of repetition there. Are you hallucinating? Was that actually my materials? Like questioning it. And then getting to write bit by bit. All right, can you just now write the introduction? Okay, now here, I've tweaked it. Here's a revised introduction. Now draft next section. Okay. And so it really needs to have the human involved in it. And that's what I talk about. It's a human collaboration process with AI, not a human replacement process. And what I also say is that human is meant to save us time. Okay, so how are you spending that free time? For yourself, are you actually having a proper lunch break? Are you going home early to spend more time with your family? Or if you're planning your holidays with your family and stuff, good, get the planning sorted so you can get back to family time rather than being on the computer for hours and hours doing planning. Or is it bringing up to have more time with your team, like actually mentoring them and helping them upskill and asking the questions and whatever, listening to your team a bit more, having coffee catch-ups, bonding with them? Or is it giving more time to actually connect with your clients, whether it is picking up the phone to old clients and having a chat, having coffee chats, and don't feel like you're wasting time because you know that you've got this spare time? So it's also about human relationships and human connections, not just amplifying your own human experience expertise with a tool. And that's what I think it needs to be doing. I think humanity needs to be served with AI by giving us these chances to reconnect. And I've put this in my book even. It's so ironic that ChatGPT came out only a few short years after COVID. You know, when we had lockdowns, so we couldn't physically interact with people. We craved that connection, even the most introverted. And, you know, even they wanted to have Zoom chats or FaceTime or whatever. So why, ironically, are we now replacing our human connection with bots like on LinkedIn? There's bots talking to bots writing comments, bots writing the initial post. Why are we doing this to ourselves? Why, like, all my LinkedIn posts are human written. Occasionally there may be a bit of AI involved if it's, you know, a bit of a sales promotional thing. But I want the human connection with humans on there. And if I see AI generated comments, I delete them or I call them out. What is the point of that? It's just going, oh, look at me, I'm getting across a wider audience and I'm ticking all the boxes. But if you don't have the human connection, they're going to see right through you. So that's very much what I'm about. And I think people just need to realize AI has its place, but humans just can't be replaced.
Absolutely. What I pictured from that is in between prompts, talk to people. You know what I mean? It's not necessarily about going into that, you know, sort of dungeon hole of wanting to learn new tools and, like you were saying, et cetera, et cetera. But what I'm finding is so many people have really outsourced their thinking to artificial intelligence, and they have actually really taken themselves out of the sort of thinking. Yes, we can notice and we can spot when somebody has written with AI. There's obviously the M.E.D.I.A, and also people are just not getting more and more articulate. If you then meet them in person, like, you don't sound like your boss. you know what I mean? What else is being chipped away by AI that you might be noticing that people haven't quite put a grasp on, especially, you know, while they're just thinking, oh yeah, it's a tool that I'm using, so it's getting me by?
Yeah, it's really just I mean, most of that's covered it already, but like it really is replacing yourself and you're thinking. I spoke to someone recently and I'm like, oh, how are you using AI? She goes, oh, AI just rules my life. It gives me my workout plans, my food plans. It helps me do this and this and this. And I'm like, that really is a concern. And from like a business owner point of view, remember why you got into business. And remember, like, I have passion for what I do. I don't want to have AI replacing all my phone calls because you can't get AI to make phone calls, right? I want to have the human phone calls. I'm not going to get to completely replace, like doing a podcast. I could very easily just write a script and get, I've trained 11 labs, or my colleague has trained 11 labs to sound like me for an audiobook version of my book, right? I could so easily go, oh, we know how to do that now. Great. All my podcasts now can be AI. I could very easily, but actually enjoy the process of getting on a microphone and recording a podcast. Like, I've just released a new podcast, the AI for Busy Leaders podcast. Like, I love doing it. And so just because AI is available to me doesn't mean I should use AI. And you shouldn't feel pressured to use it as well. And so just go, okay, how do I want to use it? I often think it's great as a starting point. You can't, if you're procrastinating about something, you're overthinking it, get AI help. Like, all right, I want to write an article on this, going through a bit of brain fog. Here's a dump of all I want, like, I want to include in it. This. Here's some materials, or can you research some materials? It gets started. And then what you do is use that like dopamine hit of what it gives you to then use it as fuel for your creative and critical thinking. And too many people are getting excited by that initial buzz, going, oh, how good's that? I'm just going to publish it. I wouldn't change anything. How amazing. And boom. And it's very hard as well, if you're tired or burnt out, to see clearly and realize that it actually doesn't connect with you. There's repetition there. You can't see it. Like, I've been guilty of that too. So you're better off, if you did want to do that, all right, give it a day, look at it again the next day and just see if it still resonates, because it probably won't. But yeah, ideally, you should be going, great. First draft or first outline, amazing. I've gotten over that white screen of death. Now I'm going to take over. And I don't think enough people are doing that. I think they're all like shortcuts, fast paced world. Everyone's busy, busy, busy. Gotta like do this as quick as I can. And having this conversation on LinkedIn the other day that computers were meant to save all this time. All the, microwaves, washing machines, all these things are meant to save time to free us up, but we're still busier than ever. And so I think people are seeing AI as the next thing to be the solution to our busyness. But you know what? Go sit down and have some time to meditate. Work out, do I really need to waste that much time on social media scrolling? I smashed out a book in 2 days over the long weekend because I'm putting my phone down and reading. Oh my gosh, when was the last time I did that? You as a human have a choice. You can choose when you use AI and when you don't. And I think just be very mindful of the usage and thinking as well, how is this affecting me? How does this affect the future me if I'm always asking it for advice, if I'm always going to it for everything? You're going to lose that muscle, use it or lose it. You lose that muscle of creative and critical thinking for yourself, of brainstorming, of coming up with your own ideas. We just need to go, okay, AI, maybe have AI free days if you're really finding yourself over reliant on it. Or go, I'll only use it for these tasks and I'll never use it for that. And I was really determined, I'm not using it for my book, but I did use it occasionally for starting off chapters that were about ethical, responsible usage, harder things. Can you draft 2 or 3 sentences? Great. Now my human brain can take over. And I was transparent as well. I actually have an online resource with every time I use AI for every chapter, how I did it, just to show people, I have used it occasionally. It hasn't taken over the process. And I think that transparency we need to bring to the table as well. When you are using AI, don't treat people like idiots. Don't think that you'll get away with using AI and no one will know. They will know, your reputation will be affected. Just don't do it. And I recently ran a masterclass on how to write a book with or without AI. And I said, yeah, don't just think, oh, I can write a book with AI. How good's this? Because I can, and I can do it in a day. And oh my gosh, how amazing am I? Will you feel the same sense of achievement? No. Will you feel like a fraud when people say, wow, such a great book? Yes. Don't do that to yourself. Use AI sparingly, bring your human brain in, and just don't do yourself a disservice of just handing over too much to the bots.
I like that a lot because you're right. That's the reason why we are out here to create, because it's not that, labor of love that we then can go out and showcase that, look, this is what I created and it's my gift to humanity. Now let's flip it a little bit. There are those leaders or business leaders or entrepreneurs that are thinking, oh, maybe I might actually just get rid of a few of the hanger-ons that are on my team that can be replaced by artificial intelligence. What's your take on that? Because I've seen a lot of people do that and then renege on their decision, a little bit later on, having realized, ooh, yeah, thing.
I have strong opinions. Strong opinions. I think AI is the equivalent of a toddler right now. It needs so much human control. And if you sack the people actually are experts in their role, you're doing yourself a disservice. You need those people to be using the tools, getting a marketing team who know marketing. AI can create amazing, magical things because they know what good output looks like myself, right? And they know how to work with it, know how to strategize, they know what their usual processes are. They can then work with it to create even more amazing work. I have heard it this is from the early days as well, late 23, of copywriting teams being sacked and then using AI. But I always question, who's then writing the articles with AI? Are they the interns who don't know what they're doing and don't know how to assess it and don't know how to critique it? Is it the receptionist who is just going to do it as quickly as possible so she can move on, or she's doing it in between phone calls and all the other busy work? You need the human experts to be driving these tools. And you shouldn't be sacking people. I had this conversation with a guy once from another AI company, Mark Cameron. Basically, we should be hiring more people. We should be hiring more people because AI is dealing with all this the annoying things that just take up too much unnecessary time, but it's essential work. And then, oh my gosh, we have time to work on those projects that have been on the to-do list for so long. And we can actually then hire in a project team to work on that now because all those other things are so much quicker to deal with. We shouldn't be sacking and cutting costs thinking AI is the solution because it really would just be a band-aid. And if there are people who are, if there's customer service issues, for example, and you think, oh, that's fine, we'll get all chatbots, we'll have all phone agents, we can replace the customer service team. Well, that's not going to serve you either because those tools need people to drive them and to check them. You're better off having those people run them, like I said. You're better off, though, in the long run, is going, all right, why do we have customer service issues? Do they need to be upskilled? Do they need some on the more like training in terms of how to manage the phone calls or some manuals and better systems and processes put in place for the humans? Don't assume AI is going to be the solution to all these kind of problems because it won't be. It will just add more problems. And I'm hearing about overinvestment in tools to do this. There's agents which are meant to be decision-making bots. I'm very wary about them. I wouldn't trust them to take over and basically research, then book, then this. I want to be checking it. I don't trust any of them. And look, at least now, right? A few years down the track, could be a different story. But I've heard stories, I think when ChatGPT brought out agents, it was giving examples like wedding planning and how easy it is with AI. And I'm like, but planning a wedding is like like a milestone. It's like I know how stressful it is. I've done it, but or planning a holiday, just get out, just plan it and then book it. Isn't it better for you to be involved in the process and experience it, and then it helps anticipation and just it's like the book thing. You just remove that human involvement in the journey. Like it's not just about the destination; it's about the journey. And I think so many people just removing that journey, like just jumping to getting it done and moving on. And that's not life. That's not how we want to live our lives.
Yeah, you're right. You see, you'll be at a wedding and then, everybody's name is written in a different way or,
or misspelled because AI still makes mistakes.
So you're going to have a bridezilla and a hallucinating ChatGPT now.
Yeah. Zilla bots. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, I know. It makes you stop and think because and I do have the habits framework in my book because I think we need to build healthy habits with AI right now. Like right now at its infancy, we can determine what it turns into. If everyone's out there buying M.E.D.I.A glasses, which I guess they're cool, but privacy and just constantly having things, I don't know, that could very well be the future. But right now the technology is pretty crummy. Just jumping onto the shiny things that are being invented with AI. How cool is this? How cool is this? It's the shininess we need to watch out for because as humans, it's very easy to get caught up in that shiny new car. But like you said, your car is still functioning. You don't have to go and buy the new one just because it's there.
It's the latest
and that's what we need to be mindful of. Like I love that analogy. I'm going to use that now. We need to be mindful of that. We need to just go, okay, will this actually serve me or serve me 5 years time me, like 10 years time me? And your kids are watching. Like my kids don't use AI at all. There was some frustrating times with speeches at school. And I said, oh, you can get AI to kind of help you brainstorm some ideas. No, mum, don't want to use it. I'm like, cool. Okay. I'm all for it. That's fine. That's good. It's just we need to be mindful right now. It's the mindset piece, which is what I talk about in my keynotes and my trainings in the book. The mindset piece is the missing component for so many people. Like let's jump to the outcomes. How can I quickly get this done? But you need to think about the strategy and also the mindset to really have a holistic view of it all.
Now, if somebody's watching this and they're thinking, okay, I think maybe I've been doing it wrong, or I've been driving this Ferrari with the handbrake on by just letting it do its thing, and for them to release the handbrake, what would you suggest and where can they go on the internet to find you, or what resources have you got going that people can maybe start with?
Yeah, well, first of all, you're not alone. That's like 90% of the population, so it's fine. Yeah, you can come check out my podcast, AI for Busy Leaders, which I just launched. My website is humanedgeai.com. Come check out that. And you can have a human conversation with me on LinkedIn. That's my main platform. So just look up Leanne Shelton. You'll find me pretty easily. And of course, you can grab my book as well. So if you want to just kind of get an entry level understanding of how you can get your mindset in the right place. It is, yeah, it's a non-techie, human-first approach to AI for busy leaders. So it's very accessible. You can read it probably in a weekend if you just sat down. And it helps you train your tool as well as think about if you do have a team, how you can train your team and get them all on board. And it's just take don't worry about taking that baby step, just that little step forward and going, okay, I've been doing this way. I can now understand after listening to this, watching the show with Leanna Prosper, I get that I need to think about AI differently and just start having those conversations with your team or with other business owners at networking, see what others are doing, but just try to keep it human. That's my little hashtag keep it human. Just remember that you need to make the right decisions right now of your AI usage, build the right habits, and then you'll be okay.
Oh, absolutely. It's all in the habits, right? And obviously, it's actually more to do with what not to do than what to
Yeah.
do. From what you have said, is if you give it the right information and you then, like my little daughter likes to say, you put your whole self in, you put your whole
Yeah.
self,
Yeah.
and you just do the roly poly with ChatGPT. That's all it's all about. Now,
Yeah.
I'm really excited for all of this, and I did obviously place an order for your book. It should be arriving. I was hoping to have my own copy by the time we had a chat, but obviously I didn't notice when you had booked already. But that's really exciting. But yeah, definitely, I will be a big champion of that, because in as much as we want to move ahead and keep doing things, you've mentioned the shiny objects. So many people are going to be run over trying to pick up the shiny objects in the middle of the highway. You know what I mean? And you don't want to be there. Just stay in the lane that you are in, and it will still obviously produce work in such a human way without you trying to overstep yourself. Now that you seem to be the queen of pivoting and moving into different sort of genres, even though you're still in the same lane, what's next for HumanEdge AI? What should we be excited about? What you're working on? I mean, obviously, I know you're not at the cutting edge, but you are at the human edge of AI. What's in store for us now that you've brought us into your world?
Yeah, I love to start doing some research into AI in youth. So looking at education, I've already started talking to like Macquarie Uni about what they do or what's going to happen next for primary school kids, high school, looking at careers, looking at relationships. Hoping that to be my next book, which will I'll start tinkering away out and away with and interview people and things. And otherwise, yeah, continue with my keynotes and team workshops into the new year and developing my podcast. I think it's just especially in Australia, we're a bit slow to get on board why AI training is so important. And I think it's slowly starting to happen. Like people are going, oh, okay, I don't know what I'm doing. Because before it was just like, oh, yeah, I'm good. Until they realize, oh, I've just been using like a Google search bar, asking demands and not training it up. Okay, now I get it. Or my team's all over the place. Some are using Copilot, some are using ChatGPT, some are ignoring it, some are and yeah, so I look forward to it exploding a bit more, I guess, in 2026, especially after people have read the book, recommended the book, and everything like that. So exciting times. I'm hoping to get some more trainers on board. I've already had my colleague who's an ex-lawyer. He's going to be running a training for a law firm because I'm like, look, you know what they know more than I do. You're a better fit. And we'd love to build my team so there are people for different industries or who are a bit more hands-on with, oh yeah, I know how to build agents really well. Great. We'll bring you in for that kind of training because it just overwhelms me trying to learn about that stuff. I just want to talk about more conceptual and strategy, the mindset and basic training. but all this nitty-gritty tech stuff, not me. I prefer to get other experts on. And yeah, hopefully as things grow, that will be a possibility. So watch this space.
Absolutely. And thank you so much for finding your lane and sticking to it. Because I also vouch that this AI roller coaster, I'm a little bit too short to jump on this ride. So I'll hang tight. When it's figured out itself, then I'll go into whatever is available. But with the tools that we have right now, I think we're home and dry. So now, thank you so much for sharing your journey and your insights and just the stories behind the success that you have garnered. What a ride.
Yeah, a little bit. I forgot what my comfort zone looks like, Prosper. I have no idea what that looks like now. I'm just constantly out of it.
Great stuff. And for everybody that's watching and listening, I hope Leanne's story just helps you see, that the path could be messy, but there's always meaningful transformation if you apply yourself. So if this episode lit something inside of you, either it's curiosity about AI or what to do next in your career, or just clarity on certain subjects, I encourage you to reach out to Leanne. I'm going to put all the links in the show notes there so that you can connect with her. And I also encourage you to share this episode with somebody who just shared with you the latest prompt that they gave you. That person might actually be cruising for burnout, as Leanne has just mentioned. We don't necessarily need to be on top of everything else. We need to actually use it in such a way that it is a tool, not making us a fool. So I can't wait to see what you're going to do with this information. And Leanne, thank you once again. And for those that are watching, thank you so much. Bye for now.